Good morning, one and all. I welcome you all to the 40th webinar of the Saturday webinar series by Managed CIA. I'm Zenith, Content Developer at Managed CIA. Center for Innovation and Agripreneurship is a center of excellence in agribusiness incubation hosted at National Institute of Agriculture Extension Management. It is one of the leading agribusiness incubators in India, and Managed CIA has incubated more than 300 startups from various focus areas of the agriculture and allied sectors. The topic for today's session is disruptive innovations in agriculture. We have three speakers joining us today. We'll start with our first speaker, Mr. Naresh Annam. Mr. Naresh Annam is working as a data scientist in Microsoft. I request Mr. Naresh Annam to share his presentation and start the session.
Okay, thanks, Gina. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, please let me know when to start.
You can start.
Okay. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Actually, I had a very bad throat today morning, but I hope I'm audible to everyone, right?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, thanks for welcoming to this session. Like, it's a great opportunity to talk about disruptive innovations in agriculture. I'll make this presentation through applied AI in agriculture. So, before we jump on, this is the agenda for today's my talk. We'll start with precision agriculture and various case studies that can be done using AI or machine learning, followed by a question and answer. So to set some context here, so as per UNFAO, Food Agriculture Organization, so we have seen the current population is 7 billion. So the expected population by 2050 is 10 billion, which is 33% increment. Whereas the food requirement is going to be 70% more than what currently we are producing. So in order to meet this, it's a very difficult. So we need to have a great plan to achieve this kind of numbers. So how can we do this 70% more food in the coming future? So we need to adopt the latest technologies and latest innovations in using technology and meet these needs. To go over the some reverse chronological. So how we started this agriculture. So we started with agriculture revolution. Even our country is in started with agriculture as a backbone for our economy, right? The technology that time there's not much technology. We used to follow some manual process and conventional farming tools that involved a lot of labor intensity. So later we moved to industrial evolution, where we started using the machinery in the agriculture domain, be it a tractors or harvester or any chemical fertilizers. So and as we are moving into 20th century and so on, like for last one decade, we are mainly focusing on information and data evolution, where we want to exploit the data what is available to us and generate some insights and help the farmer or agriculture get a better yields with a low cost. So the nature of this is basically data intensity. We are at this third stage basically. We want to use the data and make smart decisions based on that. So AI is going to help in that journey. So what are the major disruptions that we are seeing here? So one is that a lot of improvement has been done during this data collection technologies, be it sensors or satellite. So now a lot of companies are also providing a private satellite imagery where the spatial satellite itself is like 1.5 centimeter. The public available satellite data sources like Sentinel is providing data at 10-meter resolution. So that there's a lot of improvement has been happened. There's a lot of research is happening in the data collection technologies. The other one is that everyone is talking about precision agriculture. This is about in order to do anything with the data, we need to have data from the farm or some satellite and so on. So we need to adopt the precision agriculture and increase the yields. So to do the precision agriculture, so we need a lot of data processing technologies like AI or Internet, AI, IoT, Internet of Things. This is specifically to sensors, and whereas also cloud computation. So we need to process this data and compute and generate insight that we may not do on the like typical workstations. So we might need a very powerful compute. So that we might need to adopt the cloud computation, because as we have seen, this IoT is getting a lot of momentum. So the Internet of Things is getting a lot of value now. So if you install a lot of sensors in a farm, and that keeps on sending the data, that data is going to be in GBs and terabyte. So in order to process that, we need to adapt to a cloud computation as well. And there is other disruptions are happening in agriculture along with this technology point of view, the digitally enabled marketplaces. So how to sell this market? This is mostly about supply chain. And some other disruptions, which is happening in agriculture is vertical farming, because there is not enough land, and because of this urbanization, so people have started doing vertical farming. And we need to also think in the line of sustainability in the agriculture. So that is, we need to save our environment and do the agriculture. That's going to be the next disruption in agriculture. But my today's focus is precision agriculture using AI. To put it simply, what is precision farming? Where we need to apply inputs in a precise amount to get a increased yield compared to traditional cultivation techniques. The main goal is to reduce the cost of the farmer and increase the average yield. So that can be achieved through precision farming. So what is our entire goal is to basically reorganize this old system of agriculture towards low input, high efficiency and sustainable agriculture. In order to meet this goal, so we need to definitely rely on technology like data and technology and AI. That's only the kind of one way to achieve this kind of goal. So if you do all these things, what we are going to achieve, or what this is going to help us in increasing agriculture productivity, that we have seen in the next 30 years or 40 years, there's a huge demand for food. So if you adapt this precision kind of agriculture, we hope that we meet the 70% of the needs. We need to increase agriculture productivity. And also we need to improve the soil quality. That means we need to reduce the chemical applications to crop. And also we need to use the water resources. In the conventional farming, we used to use a lot of uniform kind of irrigation. So if you enable some kind of application, kind of variable irrigation, so with that we can also save water. Water is kind of a precious source, right? And this also prevents the soil degradation. If you use a kind of precision-based farming, so we kind of can reduce soil degradation using a crop rotation or in other solutions that we can build. To give some context, we are talking about a lot of precision agriculture and farming. So, and we're also talking about building AI applications. But if everyone knows that to build AI and machine learning application, we need a huge amounts of data, right? But what are the different data is available with us is kind of, to put it very simply, I summarized here. This is not exhaustive list, but this is where we operate, right? One is satellite imagery. So if you are aware of Sentinel or Airbus, there's a lot of satellite imagery available, like Modi's is also publicly available. And we are also hearing a lot of drone imagery, which goes at like less elevation from the farm. This is kind of like a mobile, and we also have mobile imagery, and we also need weather. So this is the where farmers are facing a lot of challenges of due to like with a lot of climate changes. Weather also going to be very important data set. And similarly, weather forecast. We have to do some proactive measures. We need a accurate weather forecast. This is also another data set that is critical to build any AI-based application. And also to build some other application specific to your application, you need a biomass and yield data. That should be coming from farm. This is very difficult to obtain the data that we are seeing basically. This is very proprietary to the farmer, and he may not share the data with us. So how can we overcome this kind of situations? We'll talk about that. And also we're talking about IoT, this sensor telemetry. So sensor telemetry, it poses a lot of challenges. Like there should be enough bandwidth that data should coming into your cloud or into your workspace or work machine, so that you can process. And also field machinery data, be it like some during harvesting or during some seeding. So we also need this kind of data so that we can build a more precision agriculture based solution. So this is a spectrum of data set that we are going to operate. So in order to build any like powerful AI application, so we might have to operate with one or two of these data sets. So that I'm going to talk about in the next session. So, but think of some scenario like some enterprise wants to build this kind of thing, so they don't have very full resources. So how can we do that? So Microsoft has come up with this Azure FarmBits is basically enabling digital agriculture on Azure cloud. What it offers is basically it's a business to business offering. It enables aggregation of different agriculture data sets and enables you to build AI or ML models without taking much efforts on aggregating this data set. So this does heavy undifferentiated lifting. Basically, it pulls out the data from satellite and weather and provides in a one place so that any uh, any application developer wants to build something, if he subscribes to Azure FarmBits, he can quickly get the data and start building his application. He no need to worry much about where to get the data and how to do this. So we provide this kind of platform so that it makes the business or any developer life easy. So what are the value proposition we are suggesting here is that we kind of acquire and aggregate, process some of the data and keep it in our Azure FarmBit. So be it a sensor, a drone or camera and so on. You can also bring in your own data by following some data sharing technologies also. So we also provide how to query this data in a more consistent way so that you don't need to worry much about this part. So what you should do is basically fuse this data set and start building AI or ML models according to your needs, be it a crop classification or a soil moisture heat map, whatever application that you want to do. You want to build some variable irrigation water map, so you can get the data of weather and sensor and satellite and start building the model. So this is one kind of a platform that is available for you for any business or any developer to start building AI based application agriculture. So this is high level like form. So this is the basically cloud. So it gets the data from sensor, drones, and satellite and weather. You can think of the this green color. You can think of yourself. So you can start building AML models on top of this. So and you can also do a smart equipment and precision farming and so on. So yeah. So think of your like ISPR partner. The green ones are the farm bits offering, and this resides in the Azure basically. Right. So I'll talk about a little bit about satellite data if you're not aware of this. So satellite data is something like our RGB images where we can see with our naked eye. So but this is kind of multispectral data. Apart from these three channels RGB, so satellite offers more than this at different wavelengths. So this can help us to do more analysis about our agriculture. Be it this NDVI, this is basically vegetation indices, and NDWI, normalized difference water indices. So this will help us what is the water content of the plant or the crop basically. So these are kind of knowledge driven indices. These are very basic simple analytics that you can do using your satellite data. Everyone must be knowing this NDVI is a vegetation indices. If you do this NDVI graph for your farm, it will tell you what is the NDVI value. The range of this is basically a -1 to 1. So anything above zero point 0.3 should be a good vegetation indices. So that means your crop is very good health. This is a very basic index that can assess the crop health. There are like many other indices that are there. You can derive basically just based on this data. And this is about some based on wavelengths and what is the resolution of those bands. So there are other bands specifically for water vapor, and water index. So if you want to only do analysis with this kind of bands, SWR, you can also do with that. So this right hand side is basically how various bands response for the crop basically. So how much it emits and how much it absorbs and so on, right? And as I talked about here, we'll see we have data sets and we have some applications in mind to build. How can we do that? This is the one such application. How can we fuse this IoT and satellite? IoT is basically coming from the ground, from sensors. You can think of IoT as kind of soil moisture, soil temperature, and so on. Here you can think of IoT as one such sensor is soil moisture, which measures soil moisture at different depths based on your installation of your sensor. And we have corresponding satellite coming from the satellite. But this data is very granular, more frequent compared to satellite. Satellite provides data at every 5 days that is specific to provider. And IoT gives hourly or minute data. How can we fuse this and generate kind of a heat map, soil moisture heat map, so that farmer can take some actions where the water content is less, so that he can go and do the variable irrigation. So I'll just talk about how we did this application by fusing IoT and satellite. So before do this, this is the we have done on the USDA, United States Department of Agriculture. They shared us some research form. This is Teradar form. So they asked us to cook two questions basically: where to place the sensors and generate a heat map based out of that sensors data. Those are two questions. So how do we suggest, recommend where to place the sensor? So the USDARS wants to deploy some sensors in this form and start measuring soil moisture. The very first question is to where to place the sensor. So if you have some knowledge about your farm, you can use that knowledge to place the sensor using a topography knowledge, or based on your previous knowledge, you can uh, suggest where to place. But if you don't have that kind of knowledge, how can you use AI or machine learning to suggest sensor placement is kind of one question. We kind of build an application. So what we've done is that, so we leverage the satellite data of 2 seasons of a particular farm, and we observe the variation in the farm, and we kind of did a segmentation of that farm, and we choose in the centroids of that segmentation, and then suggested those as the locations. So that this is kind of one recommendation. After that, agronomist or farmer can use his knowledge to improve this, or he can reject some of them. He can okay, he can agree with some locations and he can install those sensors. So that's kind of very high level idea. So that is, this is kind of a ground truth data. This is one kind of 60 focus data. This is already historical data where we have already sensors deployed. So, but we just pretended that we don't have any knowledge about this location of the sensors. We just have this boundary. What we did is basically we looked at last 1 to 2 years of satellite data and come up with the sensor placement location, where to place the sensors. This is what our algorithm has detected. These are the zones where we suggested where to place the sensor. The blue color ones are the one we suggested. So, but there are like 17 or 18 sensors suggested, are there actually in place by the USDA. But we kind of looked at our results and we are doing like close to what these guys are doing. But we are not sure what is the purpose of these sensors deployed in these locations. But our main goal, this is a recommendation basically, this helps in generating a better heat map. While building this kind of map, we kept in our mind that we want to capture the soil moisture content through our satellite imageries, and we'll come up with this kind of segmentation. If it is a different sensors, these location might be different. This is specific to kind of a sensors here, right? So basically, this canopy is nothing but what is changing in your farm over the seasons, right? When you start in the season, there's the barren land, nothing else. As you grow over the seasons, the green parts start showing, and some portions may not be not much green. So we use that kind of information through a bands, and we build kind of models using clustering techniques. So I'm not covering here, but that is a high level idea. The main goal is to segment this form into some zones where we can suggest sensors for each kind of a zone, right? Once we have these kind of sensors, the customer or farmer install the sensor and data is coming into a cloud. But we cannot install the sensors at every location. It's costly and we cannot afford. How can we leverage now this sensor data coming from the farm at these point locations, and whereas satellite data is available at every pixel in the farm. That is around 10 meter by 10 meter level, we have satellite data. How can we fuse this data and get a bigger soil moisture heat map, so that that can be fed into any machinery, so that the variable irrigation can be done. So I'll be talking about this soil moisture heat map. So what we have done is that we have taken some sensors as a training data and remaining sensors as a testing data, and we started predicting the sensor values of remaining sensors. And here also we build kind of Gaussian process regression kind of models. You can think of some simple regression kind of model using this kind of limited data. Let's say we take some 4 or 5 sensor data as a training and remaining as testing, and we kind of increase the number of configuration and come up with the best model. So that model, what it does is basically it will take a satellite data as input at every pixels and give a soil moisture as a prediction, and that is kind of a soil moisture value. So let me show you the. I can skip this. These are some of the results. So how our model is doing better than interpolation. This why matter. This green curve is basically what is the variation in the field. If there is no variation in the field captured by this sensor, this is not useful, right? So that's where our sensor placement is getting validated. So there should be variation in the zone, variation in the field, then only that makes some sense, right? So it should give some moisture at some 10% here, some 20%, 15%, so on. If it is completely uniform, we don't have to build any application. We can just directly do a uniform irrigation. So that's where this kind of thing, it shows that there is some variability in the form in terms of soil moisture data. So are we doing better than that or not is the kind of question. We are doing like far better than the variation in the form. Right? That is kind of a blue curve here. And if you see here, this is from our product basically. If you can see, this is a form. So there are like I think 5 to 6 sensors, some more than that basically. And if you see on the left hand side here, this is a soil moisture heat map on a particular day. So this is the generated. If you see, most of the portions is kind of red. We are telling this is less water, but we can categorically divide like about 27 or about 29 is kind of a sufficient water zone. Red is kind of a stressed zone. So what farmer and action people can take is basically they can do put more water here. They don't need to put some water in this zone, so they can save the water. They can feed this kind of map to a variable irrigation machinery, so that or maybe a sprinkler, so that it can go and do only watering on these locations. If you pour water here, it's going to be excessive water, not much useful. So that's kind of idea that this is a map which has geospatial information, latitude and longitude. If you can put this map into a device which can go to corresponding location and can do a very precise farming, very precise irrigation. That's kind of one application I wanted to show here. This is very useful. It saves water and it saves less. It saves basically main goal of this application is to save the water. So if you can build this kind of application using IoT and satellite, that would be great. So this already we kind of delivered this application to USDA. So but still yet to evaluate this and use it in the production. So our next step is to basically install this map into a application or a web service or suitable software where that farm machinery is going to operate. Right. So other indices is kind of EVA. This could be a date. This is nothing but EVA is kind of 0.3. Forget about this red color. 0.3 is basically a value. It has like some vegetation here and correspondingly DWI. And we also brought in some drone imagery into our system. This is captured by a drone. So this can be pushed into Farmbits. So that if you want to build application with IoT plus drones, you can do that. You can always replace satellite data with drone imagery. Right? So this is kind of one application that has some value in doing a precision agriculture. And also wanted to talk about another application that we have seen various data sets we have looked at. IoT plus weather. So how can we how can we leverage IoT and weather and build some very specific to your application? If you want to do some micro climate forecast, be it soil temperature or soil moisture, if you want to do it, so what are the data sets that you want to keep in your mind? So right, this is example what we have done in the USA basically. So these are the sensors already deployed in this farm. But as I talked about, one of the major challenges to go into digital agriculture or precision farming, data is kind of very important, right? So to get the data from this remote farms is very difficult. So because there's a limited connectivity might be there. So what Microsoft has proposed some white space technology to store the data in that use that unused spectrum and transfer the data into a place where there's some sufficient bandwidth that can be pushed into a cloud. Right? So this is one of the last mile connectivity problem. So you must have heard in the literature. So this is kind of connectivity it's solving. Once you have this kind of data, so yeah, now you can bring in you have now farm data. IoT is coming into a cloud, and you can also bring in weather data. So what you can do next is basically if you want to build some kind of soil moisture forecast, you have that, and you want to do soil temperature forecast also. You can build some n number of models and get this kind of models. So this is just to show that you can bring in other weather forecast into one place and start building application. If you know the next soil moisture forecast, so you can like take some proactive measures in those locations. The soil moisture forecast is for next some days basically. What going to be soil moisture for next 2 days and 3 days and 4 days. Weather is going to be very important. If it's completely rain, so soil moisture will be like huge. If there is like not much rain, so you might have to you might be observing less soil moisture. The one we have seen previous application is basically sorry, the one you have seen is basically today only. This is based on current telemetry and current satellite imagery. We are getting soil moisture heat map. What if you want to do a soil moisture heat map for next 10 days so that you can take some action at particular zones? So you can bring in one important data set is that going to help in building that application is weather forecast. This is the one important data set that can help in building this kind of soil moisture forecast. So this is kind of using IoT plus weather forecast so that the soil moisture forecast is going to be heavily depend on the weather forecast. For that, you need to have an accurate weather forecast. There are like many providers available in the market that you can buy some subscription and put the data and bring in your own IoT data and start building this application and then take the action based on this soil moisture forecast for next some days. Right? This is also one another kind of application I want to bring it to the this audience here. The other one is basically we looked at soil and crop. So the other model I want to just talk about is basically biomass. So basically biomass is basically total mass of biological matter in an area. The area could be like 1 unit or 1 acre and so on, right? Or hectare. So the goal is to estimate cover crop biomass at a cover level or unit area in the farm, right? So let's say you have some started growing some crop, but you want to know what is going to be biomass after starting of your season for next 1 month and 2 months and so on, so that you can you can take care of your logistics in a better way if you know the yield of your uh, crop and biomass, right? So biomass is kind of at any stage of your cropping season, you'll get to know biomass. Whereas yield is kind of at the end of the season that accumulates the yield. So these are some of the some of the results I wanted to show. This is also one of the farms we have taken from USDA. So these are the kind of results that I wanted to show here. Show is basically on the right hand side. So starting of the season, October 2019 to end of the season, which is May 2020. So the blue curve is basically the orange curve is kind of actual biomass the customer has given to us. So, but we have built a machine learning model using satellite imagery plus this limited ground truth data. So this is a kind of our research, blue curve. So this is coming closer to the actual biomass. This has been consistently observed across a couple of locations. The kind of features that we have used here is basically LA, leaf area index, somewhat closer to NDVI, and also the GDD, growing degree days. This is a feature derived from our weather. GDD, if some people are aware of this thing, this is a growing degree days, which actually helps in measuring the crop growth. So this is kind of a cumulative measure. So these are kind of two major features that are helped us in getting this kind of results. And we also use the days, how many days from starting the season every day. And we also come up with some of our own embeddings and some of the vegetation indices like EVI, Enhanced Vegetation Index, and NDVIs, Normalized Vegetation Index, and some other index as a features. And we built this model, and this is kind of result. There's some, and if you see, this is a gap. in biomass. So we are like far apart from like 1000 kg per hectare. This is the gap. The least we could get is like 469. And some of the like some real challenges is basically it's kind of easier to predict the biomass in the lower regions. As you grow in the higher biomasses, the model is not really performing well. This is kind of very challenging. So how can we like improve on this? That's ongoing work basically. We want to use the more synthetic data and do some use the simulation data. The one reason for this is that limited data. We don't have much data. Hardly we have some like 5 to 6 points per season. That's what typically we have in agriculture. There's a scarcity of ground truth data. So people collect this biomass at every monthly or bi-weekly and so on. They can't collect the data every day or every hourly, unlike the IoT data. This is kind of very proprietary and specific to that location. So how can we build like some better models under this kind of environment is going to be a next challenge that is for ML community, where you have limited data coming from farm and you have like abundant data which is publicly available from satellite and weather. How can you fuse this and build kind of models that are close to ground truth, right? So yeah, this and how can you build models using some synthetic data which you can generate using some physical biomass physical models and improve on top of bringing in the real data? That's going to be a happening area in this agriculture. That kind of you must be heard about transfer learning in the NLP or image and speech community. We are going to adopt the similar technology here and fine tune these models and build a more robust models that are very important for agriculture, right? This biomass or yield kind of applications are very important for be it like supply chain logistics and so on. This is very important, right? So having a better robust model helps us in planning better. So this is kind of another model I wanted to show here. This uses satellite and weather and the on-farm data, which is biomass, and and we build the model. During model inference, we use the satellite and the weather data, and we start giving prediction of biomass at every pixel level. And some other application I wanted to show here is basically a phenotyping. Like once you seed the crop or the plant, basically, we want to estimate emergence, the first green leaves coming out of the flower, right? So that is kind of emergence estimation. So once you put the seed and if it's not coming, we need to take some action. So that's kind of another application. Crop emergence. This is very, very critical and depends on the climate heavily, right? So this is the how many days that it will take to emerge, right? Sometimes it should be like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month. So if you know that those numbers, we can take some proactive measures and actions. For this, here also we use satellite data and weather forecast, and we build some simple like regression kind of a models and see how the crop emergence is coming out. So yeah, to put it more pictorially, here we use a satellite images and weather forecast, and we can build any simple models, a deep neural network or a random forest model and so on. Like whatever your favorite algorithm, you can bring in here and process this data and process it, remove the anomalies from weather and build this model. So that helps us coming up the crop emergence. That crop emergence could be a farm level or a district level. So that if you get a district level map, this helps the policy makers or the government agencies to make some decisions, like go and investigate in those regions and villages and so on. So this is some kind of studies done by Microsoft in the previous with some government agency for Telangana region. So this is what crop emergence over the days basically. So if you can see this lot of red is there. So as it grows, it's emerging basically. By end of this 20th July, like most of the regions are like crops are emerged, right? There's some regions where there's not much emergence, so we can go and see what's happening. To do that diff kind of thing, the emergence delay. So this helps us like this is kind of delayed by like 20 to 10 days, and this is on track, and this is like early. So if you have this kind of map, that helps us and go to that village or a county or a district and do some action here. That could be affected maybe a climate change or some soil changes and so on, right? So this is kind of one kind of application that uh, that can use satellite and weather, and we can build. So this applications is up to us what applications we want to build, so that we can increase our productivity, agriculture productivity, or reduce the input cost during the season and so on. So these are like some other application I wanted to just present here, right? Yeah. So this is the main I covered those applications. So now I want to just show you other application. This application is very specific to in the season. If you're doing the very first step of agriculture is preparation of the soil. If you want to build some application, you want to measure this NPK kind of thing, nitrogen and so on, you can build those kind of application. And if you want to build some application during the sowing of seeds, um, with how much distance you want to put the seeds, that could be another application. But you need a good amount of data to build any kind of applications. So you need to be very careful while choosing this application, and you should support your application by data. So, and adding fertilizers. This is another stage. Once you put the seed and the crop that's growing on, so there might be pesticides. You want to apply fertilizers, but applying the fertilizers uniformly also might degrade the soil quality. So if you want to use more precise spraying of fertilizers, you can build some kind of applications for your farm, and then spray accordingly. That's kind of applying. That is also kind of precision agriculture in some sense, right? And the other application could be in what amount you want to apply those chemicals. This could be another application, right? If you apply this much, does it impacted your yield in the previously and so on. If you have that kind of data, you can also build such simple regression kind of models or AI based applications in which quantity, what kind of chemicals you need to apply is another application, and where to apply is kind of very important. If you know kind of soil moisture maps and you have some NPK kind of maps, nitrogen, phosphorus, and like, potassium, if you know that there is a less NPK values are there, you can apply like more and kind of vice versa. And this is what we looked at irrigation. What kind of AI application that you can build uh, here in this portion? Irrigation is kind of soil moisture or NDW kind of a maps helps here. And weed protection is also another problem which is going to reduce the yield, right? How do you remove this weed protection is another challenge. So there's a lot of research is happening using drones and satellite imagery and so on. I'll just talk about this application in a minute. And similarly, we have harvesting. Uh, if you know the yield, you can build kind of yield predictions or yield forecast. So that helps in this during harvesting season. You know that this much yield is going to be coming, so you can plan logistics better or the storage of that crop better. So this is kind of entire life cycle of a crop or a crop in a season, right? So we can be more innovative to come up with the applications at every stage of this, and uh, and build more AI-based applications or more application that improves the productivity of agriculture. That is our main goal, along with the practicing the sustainability. That's the kind of going forward. So these are kind of other applications. So many other organizations or companies have started doing on. So pest detection is doing by some German company. Plantix is doing like heavily in this segmentation. Based on mobile images, they are detecting what pesticide is and what is the fertilizer, like what is the pesticide you need to apply for that. Just based on mobile image, you just click on mobile image and upload to that platform. It gives the advisory what to do next. And we also looked at this yield kind of prediction that needs satellite and weather and historical yield. This is kind of data you need to have built this application. And other is the kind of a crop classification. And as we just talked about, monitor this weed and spray them. So this is kind of heavily is people are adapting. Once you have this drone with you, and you can simply build some application and attach it to a drone. So that will take care of this. So if you see here, basically based on this drone, so identify first the weed, and then do a remove or apply the spray through a commands specific to the drone language that it understands. These are kind of two steps. But how do you identify itself is a AI/ML application? For that, you need a what is a weed, what is a non-weed, some crop
So,
basically.
Naresh sir, sorry to interrupt. I request you to wind up the presentation in few
Yeah,
minutes
sure.
as we have two more people waiting.
Sure. Just give me 5 minutes. Thanks.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Yeah. So these are the kind of applications. I'm not going into details for now, but we can talk about in some other session if how to build these kind of applications with more technology, like with image processing technologies and deep learning algorithms coming into literature. So we can build those applications using the data and latest technologies. Once we identify this, these are the actions that we need to do. And after doing this, what are the benefits we are going to get? It reduces the pesticides and reduces the cost for us. Earlier, we used to apply uniformly enter the farm. With this kind of uh, technologies, we can reduce applying pesticides. That in turn reduces the cost and also preserves the resources, and it improves the soil quality and also increases the yield. Right? And some of the future applications, other areas where a lot of research innovations are happening in this area, especially in the robotics. This still in a very early stage, right? So robotics and autonomous system, from starting the season to harvesting season, we have some machineries, but during seeding still we need a labor, right? States and some people are coming up with different ways to reduce the input cost, right? And we didn't talk about this agri supply chain. It's all together like a different zone to talk about. Once you have the harvest with us, how do you plan logistics and so on. And some other applications as government and Minister of Agriculture providing like many applications like some Kisan and through some government banks also we are providing crop advisories, and we also have some chat bots or SMS based advisories to this thing. We can innovate here and also improve this here. And this is already there, autonomous harvesting, but in kind of John Deere kind of application, we have the what is the yield that we got in that location. That geotag yield also is there, but we need to use that kind of data and build like more applications. The other research is happening in synthetic data simulation. It's very difficult to get the on-farm data. How can we leverage some synthetic data which is simulated by physical models, use this abundance data and limited real world data and build like more robust models? But that's kind of another area that people are exploring, right? To summarize, to future agriculture is going to look like this: having robots and IoT and sensors and GPS technologies, so that we can build like more uh, precise farming based applications, so that it will be like more profitable and we meet the needs of our food basically. And the main goal is, people are talking about this environmental friendly because of this carbon sequestration, greenhouse gas emissions. So we should practice agriculture practice such that greenhouse gas emission is less, so that it can be rewarded. Basically, you need to form a good practices in agriculture, but how do you build applications in that so that farmer is informed how to follow those uh, sustainable agriculture practices is going to be the next disruption basically. Yeah, I'll stop at this here. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation. We will be taking the question and answer session towards the end of the session. Now
Yeah.
I'll introduce the second speaker for the day, Nitin Gupta, who is the founder of Sickle Innovation, a farming solution company with core focus on improving conventional farming practices through design innovation. I request Nitin Gupta to share the presentation and take the session forward.
Hello. Yeah, good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are
Yeah.
audible.
Okay. So I'll just share my presentation. I'm not able to share.
Just a second.
Yeah.
We'll make you the presenter.
Yep.
Sir, the presenter has been given to you, sir. You can share the slides.
Yeah, I hope my presentation is visible. So
Yes,
I'll
it
Yes,
is.
sir.
start
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So hello again. My name is Nitin, and I represent Sickle Innovation. So from the name itself, you can make out like we are majorly into farm innovations, farm mechanization per se, and most of my discussion is going to be around farm mechanization because that has been our forte. And I'll talk about the need of the mechanization right now and where we are and where we should be heading towards. We had started this company 7 years back as it was a startup when we started with the one product, and now we have multiple products and this I would say horticulture mechanization particularly. So our model is like this that we go to farms, find out what is required, and then start building solutions around it. So what we do is 100% bottom-up approach. So finding out what is needed and then develop a solution around it. Because I'll show you some of the very depressing slides where we have seen that for example, I'll present this. This is one image. Whenever I see, I feel so bad about the contrast of the technologies which we have. So you can see this a farmer using a phone with lot of apps loaded into this, with doing all this machine learning in the background and everything. But when it comes to farm mechanization, we are still using very primitive, very old technologies like plow. And I'll also back up my theory with the data. Also, I would like to present that what is the level of contrast we are talking about. So just want to tell you that the technology which we are using in the farms, for example, this plow itself, it is a very old technology. And how old it is, I'll give you a small here example. So the plow is something which is being described in Bhagavad Gita or Mahabharata also, when Bhagwan Krishn's elder brother was using this plow, right? Everybody would be able to recall. And it happened some 8 lakh years ago. That is like in Dwapar Yug, right? And so you can imagine that the same technology is we are still using, and it is not that very the number is very big that people the farmers who are still using the plows in the fields. And we always talk about tractors whenever the mechanization comes into the part, but there also the data is very different from what we have been listening or reading about mechanization. So this is one slide which I want to pay a little bit of attention. I'll take some time on this slide, and I want everybody to have a little bit of concentration on this data because it is something which is the basis of all my discussion. So this slide is about the percentage of farm mechanization in India right now. It is little older, 5-year-old data, but still not much has changed. So the number which you see here is overall we are about 40% our farms are mechanized throughout the country. And what it is done here is we have split it into different I would say the process of the whole farming. So you see the seed bed preparation, sowing or planting or transplanting, and weed or pest control and harvesting. So these are the 4 major steps. So we have divided, and then you have all the major crops in this column. And we will go one by one, and we will see that what kind of mechanization we have done so far, and where do we lack, and how what we should be doing forward. Going forward, what we should be doing. So if I talk about field crops like paddy, wheat, which are the largest grown in India. So here, in fact, all the crops you see, seed bed preparation is something which is like very nicely mechanized. 85 to 90, you will see almost everything is to a level it is mechanized. And why it is happening is because we have tractors where it requires a lot of power to do the soil work. For example, tilling, or preparing the seed beds. So this is job which we have done really well. I'm going next, which is like, sowing or planting. For the field crops, yes, we have done well, but wherever there is, we need, I would say, precision drilling or sowing with the, equal number of, let's say, spacing. So that is where we are again lacking. Paddy transplanting is still manual, 100%, almost 100%. 5 to 10% is what we have. Other crops are still fine. I'll go down where you see this fodder crops or vegetable crops, especially where you need, spacing between the cropping, and horticulture crops, basically all fruits. So there again, we have a very limited work which is done on the sowing. So that is something, there is a big gap which can be filled. Now coming to weed and pest control, this is basically spraying or, the pest control. Basically pesticides spraying is the way where we have been doing. We have not explored too much of other areas. But yes, here the largely also this is also done. Now the last part, which is harvesting and threshing, and this is the most painful part, I think, in the our country's right now situation. If you see the crops like cotton, we have no harvesting solution. Keep coming down, almost all these crops are harvested manually. And vegetable and horticulture crop, we are second largest producer of horticulture crops, which is basically fruits and vegetables. And our mechanization in harvesting and threshing is less than 1%, which is like almost zero. So you see, this is where the gap exists. And now I want you to focus that, why this gap is existing is because it does not require power. It requires skill, or I would say precision. So that has been the reason why, these areas are left alone, which is not doing pretty good in terms of farm mechanization. So, and the other, I would say, worrying fact is that, our 50%, we always say that almost 50% workforce is involved in agriculture, and that is going to drop down to about only 25% by 2050. These are the estimates, and I feel it is going to be even much faster. And our average power availability, when we talk about, was 0.295 kilowatt in 1970s, which has come to about 2 kilowatt. But I feel this number is not a true representation of mechanization, or I would say the way it should be. So we should be having a metric which also shows that, what is the kind of skill which is available on the farms, or the, precision power. Because this power is useless when it comes to, let's say, harvesting cotton, which is a very skilled, or I would say, a job which requires a lot of precision rather than power. So that is one domain, I think, which is not added to farm mechanization ever, and where even the policymakers should also look into, and they should bring that aspect also, so that more innovations can come into this space. I'll talk a little bit about tractors and dominance of tractor in this whole mechanization industry. So what it shows is the first table is a share of total power percentage. So we have, like, agriculture workers, basically human labor. Then we have draught animals, we have tractors, we have power tillers, diesel engine, and electric motors. So these six, I would say, the sources of power, and their percentage, respective percentage, is mentioned here. And if you see from the past 30 or 40 years, what we have seen is agriculture workers, which was contributing almost 15% of the power, has reduced to 5% of their power. And the large space, which was draught animals, so animal power, bull power basically, has been shifted to completely tractor power, which is good, in a way, good and more sustainable, I feel. And then power tillers are also becoming very popular in this category. But they still, their share is just, say, 0.8%. That's it. And we're talking about diesel engines, which are generally for irrigation or spraying system, which we use. And Electric motor is also something which is becoming very popular because availability of electricity is also increasing on the farms. And so electric motors, which are much more efficient, so they are becoming more popular. So now what I want to bring out from this last row of 2012 and 13 is the shrink of agriculture workers. So for economy, it is good when the workers are shifting from agriculture to any other any other sector. But what it gives to the system is a lack of skill. So in our own farms, I remember we used to have uh, people harvesting cotton, and they used to pick up to 80 to 90 kg in a day. Whereas nowadays, maximum 30-40 kg per day can only be harvested by a single person. It is not that the human power or the body has become weak, but I feel that the skill has gone. The skill is never being passed to the next generation. So what we have is we have lot of casual laborers without any skill. Earlier, whatever they used to be skilled labor, now they are more of a casual labor. So now the whole emphasis which I wanted to put was that that intelligence or that cognitive thought process to do those skill job is not there, and that is where I think the mechanization should be there rather than bringing more powerful or more bigger equipment. We should be talking about bringing more intelligent machines, and I feel what Microsoft and other companies are doing is pretty good. Only thing is if these all are based on the need based products, so rather than application based, like you have a technology and then you try to implement it. If we have more focused approach on solving the ground problems, so that will be a big, I would say, push to the whole precision agriculture which is required in today's date. Now I'll come down and you just see the bottom table, which is mechanization versus tractorization. So it talks about the sheer number of the tractors which we sell in India. So in 16-17 we sold 5,80,000 tractors, which is a really big number, and it makes almost I don't remember the exact number, but it is pretty high if you talk about the world average also. So I feel that whenever we talk about the mechanization, so tractor is only thing which we have to showcase. In fact, you can look for a lot of videos and everywhere. So what we talk about is only tractor. We will put it sometime. We'll make it electric. We will make it smart. We will be self-driven. But we really don't. What we don't have is a crop-specific solution. We don't have a tractor which can harvest cotton. So we never have any solution which is crop-specific, and that is what we feel which should be the need or focus of today's research field. And this is from our very small experience of last 8 years working in this domain, is what we are lacking is non-availability of skill. We are lacking of crop specific solution. We are talking about very generic solution, big machines. We are not talking about crop specific solutions. What we also should look at is how we should be solving problems rather than application based solutions, where we have already have some technologies and we are trying to fit that in agriculture, which is actually very difficult and I would say less efficient to do. If our approach is more of bottom up, where we find a problem and try to solve it using the technology which we have, I think it will be much more efficient. What I'll do is I'll talk very quickly about the kind of products what we do, and with that only I would like to have more interactions, maybe towards the end, when you can ask more questions on the kind of technologies or the future of the machines where it should be. So I'll be very happy to answer those questions. I'll very quickly go through. We have basically three set of I would say category of products. So the first is hand tools, and you will see that how these small innovations are changing the way the farming is being done. a very small tools and solving very basic problems. Then we have post-harvesting solution, where using this machine learning algorithms, we do grading and sorting of fresh fruits, and then also provide the market linkage using IoT applications. Again, these all are based on the problems which we saw on the field. And then we also provide R&D services to big corporates where they are not able, where they have some specific problems. For example, like in hand tools, we have uh, developed more than a dozen different innovations. These all are almost new, it never existed. And now we have reached out to almost 50,000 farmers in last 6-7 years. I'll show a small video also in the end, then you'll get more idea. So grading sorting solution is that, again, this problem which we found was farmers, why this grading sorting solutions, whenever we talk, we always imagine about very expensive machinery. Reason being that, farmers, they don't like to do grading sorting is because they say that, we can always sell our best grade. So what about second and third grade? So for that, what we did is we made this optical grading sorting machine where all the produce is being taken under the camera. We take images, and based on those images, we grade them in different grades. And what it also does, it connects the farmer with the nearby traders. It gives the quality data of their produce to multiple such traders, and then traders reach out to farmers, and then they can sell their produce to different set of customers. So what I meant is that, let's say if a farmer is doing tomatoes, so maybe the grade A tomatoes will go at the table variety, which is sold in the retail stores or then the market on the radies or in the mandis. And the second grade, which is like, not so good, maybe it will go for processing. So there the kind of buyer required is different, and farmer does not have time to, or maybe he does not have those resources to do it. And that is where the technology actually comes in, and it helps them in connecting with those processing houses from where they can sell their produce, the tomatoes which are of B grade and maybe C grade also. So this is how we have been tackling the problem. So our approach has been very clear, solving the ground problems using the technology. Then we have worked with a lot of big corporates solving their problems, like, Tata Coffee came out with, they have 60 feet tall trees where these creepers are there of pepper. So we develop a pepper harvesting device. We developed a neem harvesting device for Coromandel Group for their neem coated urea. So they wanted to harvest neem fruit. So which is like, very difficult to harvest otherwise. So these are like, very specific problems we have worked with a lot of other houses. I'll stop here and I'll share some videos. Just give me 2
No,
minutes.
you can share, sir.
I think I have lost that share.
1 second, sir. One
Yeah.
second.
You might have to give me the permission again. Yeah, I
Now
got
you
it.
can share,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah. So this is like, very simple device which harvests mangoes by just, cutting the stalk. So what it does, it makes sure that the mangoes which are harvested, they comes with the stalk. So their shelf life is more. So the sap does not come out and it burns the skin. So farmers have been, getting at least 10 to 20% extra with this. Again, this is apple harvesting device. It is one of its kind. We have an international patent application on this, where it mimics the hand motion of picking apples, which is like twisting upside down. And we have developed this mechanism by pressing a lever, it does the same operation of, you see this, just twisted upside down. There is no blade. And the same thing is being done with this device. And people were leaving apples on the trees because it was difficult to climb up the top one. This is one of the first product which we developed, cotton harvesting machine. Because of some reasons we could not commercially launch it, but we had worked it for a very long time. It was not very efficient as what we expected, so it never made out to the commercial. This is very one of the very big problem which we had solved. A lot of people in Himachal, when they were doing this pruning, so they came out with this problem that, you know, when the tree is pruned, so after the pruning, so it is a kind of a wound which is receptive for any kind of infection. After that, what they do is they have to apply a particular paste which is insecticide, so to make sure that, you know, the infection does not get inside. So you imagine that, you know, so many cuts you are making on a tree, and then you are going and finding out those cuts, and then you are, you know, putting the insecticide on that. It is a very troublesome job. So for that, what we came out with solution was that, you see this cutter, it cuts and immediately it applies the paste also in a single go. So we have another miniature version or other version also, where it sprays the liquid one also. Here you press it and it sprays the liquid, you can see. So both the jobs are done in a single go. So that helps, you know, it saves a lot of labor. This is harvesting apricots in Kargil. We had developed it for government. This is harvesting of neem fruit from the neem trees, which are very tall. This video is no, I mean, it is a seabug thorn, which is grown in Ladakh. This is one particular, it's a berry, which is having world's highest level of vitamin C, and it is harvested early in the morning between between 4 to 6 o'clock, when it is really cold in Ladakh, and temperatures are in minus. And so harvesting this bush is very difficult. It is a lot of thorns are there. So we developed a device which is under IP. So that's why the video is not clear. We developed it for DRDO's one institute there. And now we are going ahead with this commercialization of this product in that region. This was very first grading sorting machine which you developed for apples. It's a very small machine which can be installed at farmer's gate, where what it is doing is it is just dividing a fruit in two grades of red and yellow, and it is taking multiple images as the fruit is passing through the camera section. Just two grades, that is what was required. If it is more little more yellow is there, it will come in one section. Otherwise, it will go to the other section, which is it is more red. You can just select it the color percentage of color on basis you want to do the grading. And this is another, I would say, a very successful product which we developed was a drying of saffron, which is done in Kashmir. So Kashmir government came out with this problem of, you know, the saffron was being dried in this open areas where it was losing its color and essence. So what we did was we went there, we found out how it is being done. We came out with a solution where this whole I'll just show this. You can see these trays are, you know, mounted on a load sensor. So every time when we are drying this saffron, there is a heater in the back with the blower. So when the hot air passes through this saffron leaves, so it dries the saffron. But every second it is being weighed also. So based on the weight, when the optimal drying reaches, so it shuts down the dryer by itself. Now, how we came out with this problem was the government just told us that, you know, we need a dryer. But when we came out, we went there and we found out that see, saffron is world's largest, world's most expensive spice. So when some farmer is drying spice, which is like 2.5 lakh rupees per kilo, so he wants to make sure that the drying is optimal, and he cannot sit there all the time and the drying is happening. So we made it smart that the moment it is dried, it shuts down by itself. So about 500 such units are there in Kashmir now, and we have a sales office also in Pulwama only for this product, and which has done really good. So these are some of the innovations which we have done. I'll see if I can show one more product, and then we'll go for the question answers. Just a moment. It's not playing. I'll have to reshare it. Just last video I'll show, and then after that we will stop here. So this is a wheel hoe, which we have been seeing that it has been becoming very popular product. You see that a person is pushing from the behind. It is doing weeding job. It has a furrow. It can creates the rows. So these are the sort of, I would say, the machinery or the kind of products which are more relevant to our Indian farming condition. Like small farmers can also make use of these technologies. And like, frankly speaking, I mean, the technology is very trivial. It is all about, fitting that solution with the focus of solving that problem. So the soft tailing can be done. It can also create trenches can be made with this tool. It helps in doing the same job. A casual labor also now can do this job. So we have multiple other products also. I'll not get into this. So I think I should stop here. I'll just one last slide I have. Do we have time? Am I on time?
Yes, you can take some more time.
Yeah. So we both graduates. Me and Vinay, we both are graduates from IISc Bangalore, and Malik is from IRMA. I don't know if you have heard of this institute. It's a fantastic institute based out of Gujarat. So I look after complete finance and sales part. Vinay and Malik, they are into product. For our innovations, we have won multiple awards, especially for the innovations. Last year, we won top innovative MSME in farming sector. 2019, we won National Entrepreneurship Award also by Government of India. We have traveled to US along with Prime Minister Modi. We're the only startup from agriculture to represent Indian startups in the US. Yeah, I'll stop here. If any of you have question, of course, we'll have a question answer session, but you can also make note of my email address or my contact number. I'm always there for any questions if you have, or anything, any feedback on our products. So we are setting up, we are setting up a manufacturing unit in Hyderabad in Medchel. So, and we are also open for new jobs. So any kind of applications are also invited. Yeah. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll take the questions towards the end of the session once the third speaker is also done. Now, I request Shamlal Sasi to share his presentation and take the session forward. Syamlal Shashi is the CEO of Budmore Agro Industries, an agri-tech company working in the aquaculture sector to support farmers in building sustainable aquaculture industries. Um, Sir, can you please share your presentation?
Sure, sure. Thank you.
Also want to make a point that Shamlan Sashi is with us in the cohort 3 for SIP category. Also is a grantee.
Um, Hi, hi everyone. Thank you, sir, for giving us opportunity to explain or share the experience that we had gained till date with
Shyam,
group.
voice is little low.
Yeah, 1 second, sir. Is everyone audible right now?
Now it is good.
Okay. Thank you, sir, for giving me Bhargav the opportunity to share our experience and what with our peer group and what we could achieve, what we have achieved till now. And let me begin with my slide. I think everyone is able to see what on my screen right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, sure. And beginning with what Budmore is. Budmore is a startup company focusing on improving the agriculture productivity through technology. Meanwhile, sustainability and eco-friendliness with the nature is ensured. And the second slide is our problem statement. As Mr. Naresh from Microsoft has already mentioned, exploding population and rising demand are the prime reasons why we chose to go ahead with sustainable precision aquaculture and farming. At Budmore, we work with the aquaculture industry globally. Sustainability is really important when it comes to biosecurity, evolution of mutated pathogens, and preserving our nature's biodiversity. One such example is like these days, farmers often opt to grow GM crops, but unfortunately, in an open natural ecosystem. This is just one example where GM crops are let into the natural ecosystem, which creates a lot of ecological imbalance. And yet another example is the drastic amount of hormones and antibiotics that we use in the aquaculture system to cope up with the disinfection and to improve the productivity. And these all have a lot of side effects and negative effects on ecosystem. So that's the reason why we give a certain more importance to the sustainability aspect, even though we are focusing on improving the productivity. And when it comes to the aquaculture industry, as we all know, the biggest production challenge is the mortality, elevated mortality. And the prime reason that we could understand from our survey, literature survey, farming data, and from existing data analysis are the reasons for this higher elevated mortality is the unstructured farming practice, where everything is a thumb rule. Not everything, most of other farmers follow thumb rules. Inferior water quality management and infections or the disease outbreaks that happens in aquaculture farms. The reason for these outbreaks could be pathogens or microbial organisms, maybe parasites or virus. So our solution was crafted to make uh, firstly the farming process structured, data-driven, sustainable, and also environment friendly. And broadly classifying what our solution is, it could be divided into smart farming and smart plasma disinfection. Smart farming. When it comes to smart farming, it is a flagship product of Budmore Agri Industries Private Limited, the Indian part of Budmore. And our smart farming solution is a combination of your IoT hardware and one cloud-based farm management system. And this is a three-dimensional diagrammatic representation of how a fully automated RAS system, a recycle aquaculture system, would look like. The hardware the hardware that the Budmore hardware could be functionally divided into water quality management hardware, circulation management hardware, filter management hardware, aeration controlling, feeding, power backup management, and security surveillance functionalities. Almost all the operations that are happening inside a farm could be automated using our hardware, the hardware component, the IoT hardware component. While the cloud part, what it does is it captures all the data that is being logged by the IoT hardware, the automation hardware. It keeps the data, analyzes the data, helps the farmer in remote monitoring and management. FMS is a part, the farm management system, or the FMS is a part where the AML AML functionality will be integrated in coming years. And this diagram is a schematic of our automation solution, how the data flow is happening, how the processes are getting automated, and how the whole objective of automation is getting achieved. We fetch the water quality data using water quality sensors. Based on that, we automate the control the circulation system, and the feeder is getting automated using the data that is being captured, that is being sent from our FMS based on the biomass. And this diagram shows you typically what happens, what data moves around, and how the farm automation happens. We also take care of the security aspects like sensing bugler sensing, etc. And sorry. This is a whole array of product that we have in sales, both import and export, export and domestic sales. We have circulation controller, water quality controller, aeration controller, automation controller, intruder detection feeder, feeder controller, power and energy monitor, filter monitor. Filter controller will take care of the backwash, etc., etc. Water level controller, water quality monitor. All these controllers are designed to work in standalone, as standalone units, and also in combination with each other. This is a version 4 hardware, which is currently in sales, and there are consistent R&D going on wherein we review this, we review the product, combine, and produce more sophisticated devices. We also have a couple of research and development happening, wherein we are trying to integrate drones and employ the use of image analysis too when it comes to the biomass estimation using heat sensing cameras. And the second part, the smart plasma nano plasma bubble disinfection system. This is a lab patented system that we have. And coming to the nanoplasma disinfection system, our objective was to create a disinfection system, at the same time ensure that the water chemistry is managed sustainably. It is a core R&D activity happening in Bangalore, Australia. The current status of this project is the lab scale prototyping, trial, and patenting is completed, and the commercial product development and field trials are in progress. And coming to what nanoplasma bubble disinfection or plasma, the whole device is all about. The core of our disinfection system is a nanotechnology and plasma technology combined together. And plasma, which I referred, is a fourth state of matter, like solid, liquid, gas, and plasma. The fourth state of matter, not the blood plasma. Using our nanoplasma disinfection system, we will disinfect the pathogens, control the water quality, and with zero use of chemicals. That's the most important aspect, with zero use of chemicals or antibiotics or drugs. And now we can see this is a video that we have taken during our lab trials and lab experiments, how it works, how the device works synergistically with a living creature. More to tell about we can discuss more during our Q&A sessions. Let me skip to the next slide. The added advantages. The added advantages of a nanoplasma disinfection system is that it is fungicidal, bactericidal, antiparasitic, antiviral, and also disinfects solid biomass. For instance, the waste materials, the fecal matter of the fish or prawn or whatever. And the biggest advantage of all this is like it disintegrates the antibiotic presence in the water, and also it prevents the emergence of antibiotic resistance bacterial strains, which is a real threat for humankind these days. And that's the biggest like it's a futuristic need why we need to have a sustainable system like this. Coming to the AI/ML part, this is what we are. It would be into the AI/ML part will be more into the more related with our cloud-based farm management system, which controls our IoT devices or monitors our IoT devices. And the aspects that we plan to cover in near future, in coming years, are the FCR analysis and prediction, productivity analysis and prediction, and that because right now we have the data for FCR analysis and prediction and productivity analysis and prediction. Like we have been logging the data from the farms and government hatcheries where our systems are currently deployed for the last 3 years. So we have the data for that, because of which the team is working on that aspect. However, we are also planning to have the behavioral analysis study, behavioral stress analysis, and early disease detection and prevention related to these two aspects. We will need to have more data, and our team is working on that too. And when it comes to, in order to achieve, it's not only what we do in Badmore is a co-R&D activities or co-work, what happens in Badmore. We also have, in order to have a higher speed and aggressiveness, you always have to go into synergistic collaboration and partnership with peer companies globally. And these are the list of collaborations, active collaborations that we have, and nationally and internationally. And thank you. And I think I have more time, right?
Yes, you have.
To have a quick glance of our team. This is our team. I am the director of the company, and this is the management team, and this is the core technology team. Mr. Renu, Janath, Najib, Mughal. And Renu and Janath is into the core R&D. Najib and Mughal is into the IT side, IT and embedded system side. And the team advisors are Professor Katya Kasaka, Nitin Salaman, and Dr. Pandya. These are people working at different institutions right now. And, these are our products. This is our management system. We have two products right now. Sorry. Sorry, I'm not able to. Are you able to see the screen right now?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
we
It's
are
all
able
good.
to.
Are you able to see the login screen of the application, the dashboard, or is the PPT that you guys are seeing right now?
No, so when you click on that, there's a blank screen. But right now, what we see is a login dashboard.
Yeah, this is how the login dashboard looks right now. It's a second version is going to be deployed. This is a actual data that is being uploaded from our own farm. We have a fully automated farm, in which we do all the research and development and the field trials of products that we have developed in India, in Kerala. So that's the data that has been uploaded from there. And we also have a online e-commerce site for our farmers who, the reason why we just thought like we'll have an e-commerce site is like we produce, although we use very less space, the production is like 30 to 40 times compared with the normal farmer or conventional method. So we are also supporting them on the sales aspect. I think we are open to questions right now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your presentation. Now I request Yuvraj sir to take over the Q&A session.
Thank you very much, all our speakers. So it was a very diverse topics from different quarters. Probably I would start with the first speaker, Mr. Naresh. You are there?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. So the most of the, I mean, there are multiple questions from two fronts. On one front, how it can help startups, the kind of research Microsoft whatever is doing, how it can help the startups. A second thing, so being 80% of the farmers, most of them are small and marginal. How your products are going to help them, if not now, but in the future? Can you please address these two?
Okay. To answer your first question, startup scenarios, like the startups are focusing mostly to solving some like pressing needs of farmers, not to worry much on the technology front. and like not to worry on the heavy lifting of data differentiation. So they can like start with Fombits is a one like solution, one like platform solution for them. They can focus on the actual problem, building the application specific to their like main theme or main goal. So yeah, I'll share out my product manager like support details so they can discuss specifically like what problem they want to solve, like what the startup is trying to do. So I'm not sure like other details about the costing or something, but definitely the the problem we are solving, like we are not going to compete with anyone. We want to enable the business. It's a B2B offering. So we want to enable the business people like other enterprises to make successful with our platform. So that's the answer. Like I can share other more details from our product manager support team, so they can reach out if something specific you're looking for your startup. Like, does it sound good or like?
Sure, sure. Thank you, Naresh.
Yeah.
And he has given the dedicated mail ID also. If anybody is looking for a specific question, I mean, sorry, specific question or specific data set, they've already given their mail ID.
Yeah.
I'm going to post it for here for the benefit of everybody.
Sure.
Please check it.
Yeah.
And Shyam wanted to ask a question. Shyam would like to talk.
Yes, sir. Thank you for giving the opportunity. Naresh, I think there was some program years back in 2010, like the BizSpark, which was supporting the startups with cloud credits, etc. Do we
Yeah.
have any active programs from Microsoft right now these days?
Yeah, still it is there, I think, but the name has been changed. That I'm sure. I don't remember the name on top of my mind, but they're giving under AI for social grants, I guess. So maybe I can share that. Uh, I still remember AI for social good is the higher like division in Microsoft. He's giving that Azure cloud credits specific needs of startup to encourage under startup accelerator kind of thing.
Sure,
So
sure. Thank
yeah,
you.
maybe you can apply there. That's maybe a good
Sure.
thing.
We could
I'll
find similar programs from Amazon, but unfortunately, because I did had this Spark credit during my first startup.
okay, yeah. Microsoft has this some accelerator. I don't remember exact name of the program. So, but they granted like many in the AI for it under AI for it category, I think. So maybe I'll check and communicate with you the exact email address to reach out.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Thank you, Naresh.
Yeah. To address the second question, which I'm hearing for in the Indian context or Indian scenarios, like we tried in the beginning when we starting this kind of startup kind of thing in Microsoft. We kind of worked with Ecrisat and few other companies in the context of Indian scenarios. So, but that didn't like fly very well, like because we want to like offer like B2B, not exactly B2C, but still like we can work with if anyone interested. So that is always open. But here the technologies we are working heavily depends on the data and the sensors and so on. As Nitin also pointed, like so we are like bringing the latest technology available into this agriculture domain, but we want to enable the ISVs or partners to take care of the actual problems to solve. We are not going to solve the problem as such. Like if ISVs or partners wants to work with Microsoft, we are happy to work with them. That's kind of our ecosystem. So,
Thank you, Naresh. So to just rephrase whatever you have done. So what you are trying to do, you are trying to enable agri startup ecosystem. You're trying to create solutions where the startups use these solutions to solve their problems, if I'm not wrong.
yes, yes. We provide some sample also. We are coming with open sourcing our codes. So we are not, we are yet to
Okay.
announce that we are close to public preview. So you'll
Okay.
have like more details. We are going to publish some samples where you can build applications using our platform. So this is for just demo, but you can solve basically your application with this kind of data sets. So that's coming in very near future. So yeah, the other question is that to solve Indian context, we are also looking at global models. So we want to like leverage the data available in the US or wherever, like, and we want to contextualize to Indian market, but that is in still in a research mode. Basically, let's say one has like 1 acre farm, he wants to estimate biomass. It's very difficult. There is no data previously collected. So can we do something with the biomass availability in the US or some other geographies? Can we build some global models and take some minimum data from the farmer for 1 acre, 2 acre, and try to build some robust model? That's the kind of area we are focusing from data science standpoint of view. Apart from platform, we are data science team in agriculture. We are two kind of subdivisions. One is platform, one is data science. I belong from data science subdivision.
Okay, thank you very much. Then I'll move to the next question to Nitin. Nitin, there is one specific, very specific questions. We have seen multiple innovations, very commendable in this space. So there is cardamom is very, the crop which require drying. So you shown some dryers? Can we customize to this particular crop in the process, the grading as well as, do you have those kind of a products? Can you please elaborate? It not just need not be for that, but it can be for any crop. Can you, are your, your products are customizable so that they can use for multiple crops? Can you please elaborate?
Yeah. So what we do is, in case of cardamom of any other crop, we find out, like, we would like to, we always, what we do is we find out how much area, or how many, what is the market size for us also to get into some some sort of a problem solving, whether it is going to be viable for us also to get into develop that R&D and sell particular number of machines. Then only it will be profitable for us, and then only we enter into specific products. So if you see, all our products are customized only. They are customized for one particular crop. I know about cardamom. It is a very sensitive crop, and the drying has to be very on it. So it is very sensitive. If the temperature is high, it loses its essence. And if I remember, in Northeast also, there were a lot of such problems, requests which were coming in for especially for cardamom, solving the drying of cardamom. Large cardamom is being grown in Arunachal Pradesh, where the same similar problem was coming, that the drying of cardamom is a problem. And not only this, there are so many other crops also. Again, I would say is that I would never get into something which is like very generic solution which can be customized to all other products, because drying of cardamom is very different than other any other produce. So, but this problem is something which can be solved. It is not that it cannot be solved. It can be solved. We can look into this problem if we get more details on, like, what is the traditional way of drying, what is the kind of investment coming in, and so all those aspects, when we study, we can design something for this. And when we also know that there is a ample amount of business opportunity for us to create. And also, one aspect which I have not mentioned in our presentation is, all our products are designed in a way that for a farmer who is going to invest in such technology, he should also be able to break even in the first season itself for whatever investment he's making. So that also we have to see. So all those aspects can be checked, and we can work on such problems. But the present solution which we have is specific for saffron. It is not for any other crop.
Okay, thank you very much, Nitin. So the next question is also for you. So the people are asking for a catalog, because they've seen products. Is there a list where they can see multiple products you have shown? What are the prices and all those things? We have given your mail ID. You can provide catalog with us, because we are going to multicast all the materials whatever shared with us, so we can share with our users so that they can approach you also.
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So then we'll move to the next one. Yes, Nitin, you want to speak? Okay. Now we'll move to the Sham next. Sham, you explained about your work with Australian university. Can you please elaborate on that? How this is going to help you progress especially in terms of A and ML and how you are going to implement or use the technology in India?
The work that has been carried out in collaboration with different universities in Australia, specifically the primary collaborator is Australian National University. We also collaborate with University of Sydney and Queensland University of Technology. What the implications with the AIML part would be not that prominent, because the work that we do is a disinfection part, which is a very novel part of the work, which is more into material science rather than software. So the work that the current research work that we are doing in Australia is the development of a commercial scale nanoplasma disinfection system that use zero chemicals, will have very less contribution to the AML part. The AML part, the data for the AML analytics, prediction, etc., would be coming from all the products and services developed by the Padmore Agro Industries, Padmore India.
Okay, thank you. We have addressed all the questions in the chat. Now, any participant want to speak and directly, would request you to raise your hand so that we can allow you to speak.
So there are a couple of people who asked the questions in the chat box, and automatically there's a question mark. So Mr. Saikat, are we audible? Or is anyone?
Dr. Krishna,
Right,
Dr.
right.
Krishna is there. Dr. Krishna, we can allow him.
Sir, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah. Hi, good afternoon. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. My question was to Nitin of Sickle Innovations. Basically, Nitin, bunch of us attending this call are early idea stage kind of people who are exploring our ideas. You mentioned that you spent a lot of time on the cotton picking tool. Perhaps it was your first experiment with automation, right? And you said for whatever reasons it couldn't get commercialized. If you could elaborate a bit more in terms of what were the learnings, what assumptions did not work, and then how you were able to actually use the learnings to develop the next set of products, certainly more successful than what you did in the first one, that would help us. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Uh, First of all, it was my thesis work. It was my master's project also, which we choose based on our own interests. So I'm from a place called Sri Ganganagar in Rajasthan, where a lot of cotton is grown, and we have seen this problem from childhood of harvesting of cotton is like almost 25% of the crop cost, 25 to 30% sometimes. So what we did was the product which we made from this whole exercise was something which was able to increase the efficiency of a labor to 1.5 times to 2 times. So if a farmer, if any labor was harvesting maybe 50 kg, with the tool he could harvest 100 kg. So the video which you saw was a very early product. Later on, we had a much more sophisticated and more efficient product. But still, it did not pick up so much because from first 2 to 3 years, we spent a lot of time in testing it. And I felt like, we always feel after that experiment is that we should have launched our version first itself. So until otherwise we would have launched, we would never know what exactly market needed. Because all this time we'll go to the fields, we'll be showing it to farmers, they will give some, feedback. But actually when we sold few units of other products, then we came to know that the real feedback comes only when you sell the product. So I think that is one learning you can, always feel you can get it is launch your version 1. Nobody's going to steal it. Nobody was going to, copy your design. So those are like all, I would say, sort of things which holds you back when you are at early stage. Number two, the mistake which we made was we were stuck to only one product, which was cotton. And see, in the whole year, the cotton comes only for 2.5 months. And after that, there is no cotton. So rest of the time, we are like almost free. We are not free. I mean, I would say we will be do keep on doing that R&D activity, and we that the cycle of testing and again reiterating was very long. So I thought it was always better to have multiple products and which we could split across the whole year. Like we have mango harvesting device, we have apple harvesting device. So their timing is different. So our cash flows are also constant, and also like the whole team is engaged somewhere or else. So those were, I think, the major learnings. The market side also I wanted to tell you specifically for this product was what we had seen was a lot of people were migrating to other crops. This is like something we never thought it could happen. In at least in our area, a lot of people were migrating to gawar. There is a crop called gawar. So gore, so it is called. So why people moved to gore was only one reason, that it could be harvested using a combine harvester. So people started shifting to a lot of alternative crops, and rather than finding a proper solution. And otherwise, in at least in the Rajasthan, Punjab, Haryana, in this northern states, people have a very good, I would say, experience with the combine harvesters and all. And that is the reason why everybody was looking for a solution which was not just 2x than the labor. People were looking at a solution which could be 5x or 10x than the manual labor. That was something, I think we missed the bus, or we took a lot of time in reiterations and all, and we did not launch, and that is the we could not make it a success. And we cut down our development time, and we make sure that we launch our first version. It does not matter. We keep on improving our products even till today after 4 5 seasons also. That's okay. I think that is one biggest learning we have got from this exercise.
Thank you so much. Very useful insights. Thank you.
So questions
Sure.
to Mr. Nitin sir. We got a couple of questions from Mr. Gatreya. I've answered. You can ignore. So he was asking about the one which you've developed for Tata regarding the pepper harvester.
Yeah.
He's asking to show that particular thing. And from Chitra, can this particular tool be used for rocky areas? She was mentioning at 12:13, but I'm not sure about which particular product. So can that be used for rocky areas is one question, sir.
The solution which we had developed was under some agreement, so we could not show that product, but I can share some insights. So basically, we have designed, I would say, a theory. Based on that theory, we get into any development. So that theory says there are 5 steps basically. So we have to identify the fruit, we have to isolate the fruit, we have to actually physically separate the tree, and then we have to collect it somewhere. So these are, and then we have to transport it. So these are the 5 steps under which it has to be done. So the major problem, if you see in the pepper or any creeper which is very high, is identification itself. So if you are on the ground, 60 feet, you cannot see and precisely hold it, right? So the solution which we had was something which had a camera on top, where we could, see, and we had a display on the bottom. And to hold something which is like, not 60 feet, sorry, 30 feet. So 30 feet long pole, you needed a support. So we had a sort of a counterweight mechanism to hold it. So from the bottom we could steer it, and at the top we have one end effector which would pluck that pepper and bring it down. So this was the whole, I would say I can give you the very high level of, the design aspect of the tool which we have developed. We are going to commercially launch something similar to that. I mean, you can see that, and what all application it can find out. It is nothing which is very, I would say, very specifically, which will only going to work for the pepper. It can work for other crops which are grown at very tall trees. I hope I answered your question. You are mute, I think. On your mute.
Yeah, that was informative, sir. Also, there is another question for Mr. Shamlal. So he's asking about how FCR is monitored at aquaculture. What is the present FCR level?
I'm sorry.
Am I audible, sir?
Yeah, could you please repeat the question?
Yeah, one question from Mr. Viresh. So how FCR is monitored at aquaculture and what is the present FCR level?
Uh, 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 to answer that question more specifically, we are not into growing a specific type of crop to let you know what is FCR. How we measure is like we have the biomass data of biomass per day of the crop of a particular pond. We also have the data of the feed that is being dispensed into the pond. So using those two data, we calculate the FCR randomly in our cloud system. That's what is being displayed to the farmer. And currently, how we used to take calculate the biomass is this sampling method, wherein the farmer has to enter the sample total number of fish and the total fish mass, the sample mass. And going forward, we are working to get that value more accurately using thermal images.
Okay,
I have answered the question.
I hope so. Maybe it's a bit precise, I guess, on that note.
Yeah.
Also,
I could say like if you're working on we do work with a couple of species directly with that's on a more research angle. We are working with shrimp when it comes to our works in Australia. We are working with shrimp and barramundi. So we have the barramundi trout, etc. So we have the FCR for those species, but I don't think telling those values would be relevant for the person who posted the question. And the most commonly cultivated fish in India is tilapia. I think the FCR, the most common FCR that we have in our system from the farmers and also from the government hatching, government growing facilities is like 1.7 per 1 kg of fish. I think if you are specific about the numbers, these are the numbers that I have seen in the farm management system with respect to different uses.
okay, sir. Thank you, sir. We have a question from Mr. Azman, sir. Mr. Azman, you can go ahead.
Yeah. I have a question for Nitin from Sickle. Can you hear me,
Yes.
Nitin?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
So Nitin, I'm Asman Frederick. I'm also an agri engineer with extensive research or work in mango and plantation crops like banana, pomegranate, and all those things. We also are innovators in agriculture equipment
Yes.
related with post-harvest, management of mango, banana, papaya, climacteric fruits, citrus, and all that. So how open are you for just one more thing. Incidentally, I'm also based out of Hyderabad only.
Okay.
And you mentioned that your factory is coming up in Hyderabad in Metchal.
Right, sir.
How open are you for collaborative, opportunities to work together on these? Because we have been doing a lot of work in these areas as well.
Definitely, we have been collaborating with a lot of research institutes and also individuals in this domain, which I talked about, like R&D services which we are giving. It is sort of a collaboration itself, you can say, where a lot of inputs come from the field teams of these corporates, and we bring our value of the product design part, and also the prototyping, and then the testing is being done with them. So definitely we are very well open for any such collaboration possibility. We can take it offline. My email address you already have. You can
Yes.
please send me an introduction mail, and we can take
I've
it forward.
already sent you an invite on LinkedIn. So
Okay, great. Yeah.
thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you.
Just an extra information to Nitin also. Mr. Azman Frederick is part of a cohort 5 incubation.
Okay.
The category of SAIP, which is already having a startup and he wants to scale up, that is a category.
Okay, great.
Thank you so much for that added information. Thank you.
Yeah. Yuvraj sir, any other questions you want to take it up, sir?
Now I think we have covered most of them. So there is multiple questions were very specific and it could only answered for depending upon further conversation. We have already provided all the contact details, email IDs of all three speakers. To start with Naresh, he has given two mail IDs. One is personal mail ID has been given as well as his team mail ID has been given. So looking for any specific information on the research, whatever they are doing, any specific help you can write to them. Then we have Nitin with us. Nitin details have been provided. So especially cardamom, they are looking for a specific, they want a solution for their output. So there he is also ready to cooperate. You can write to them, Mr. Rajesh, you can write to them and you can take it forward. Frederick, we will connect with Nitin, we can take it forward there. And last but not the least, Sham is there. Sham is our incubator as told and grantee also. He has his operations in Kerala as well as Australia. So you can, we have provided his contact details also, you can collaborate with them. On this note, we would thank everybody. Thank you very much, all three of you, for being here and sharing your thoughts on a Saturday morning. So on this occasion, we would like to thank our Director General Manager, our Director Agriculture Extension, Dr. Sharanan Raj, our entire team here who supported behind our Saturday webinar series. Mr. Alok, Innovation Manager, Kaushik and Shashank, our Business Executives, Jainath, our Content Developer and Shiva, our Graphic Designer. And last but not least, our attendees and users who have been coming regularly and making this a big success. Thank you very much. We'll see you in the next webinar. Keep yourself safe. Don't think that Corona is gone. Cases are rising. Please make sure you are keeping yourself and your family safe. Have a great day ahead.
Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone.